Shopping for humans is hard. Shopping for your dog is easy thanks to Bark. Every month, we deliver toys and treats just for your dog. Whether it's fun plush or tough toys for heavy chewers, we spoil all the dogs. Subscribe now and get a free upgrade at barkbox.com/iHeart.
With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with Cheap Caribbean Vacations means you have more freedom to do your deal. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas and more, or simply soak up the sun and sand in a tropical paradise, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book the exact getaway you want at exactly the right price for you by using our exclusive budget Beach Finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package and do your deal at cheapcaribbean.com.
Episode 121, What to Do with Your Purge.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And we're doing another listener request on how to best donate, gift, sell, whatever, purge all the things that you have gotten rid of over quarantine, because that's been a great activity to do while you can't go out.
Yeah, the Marie Kondo tidying up documentary or series did a purge, and holy smokes, did coronavirus cause us to purge also.
Revisit, yeah.
Yeah, and we've recently done some episodes on capsule wardrobe and minimalism and all these things. But then it's like, but now what do we do? Because we can't just throw all of our stuff out. That's not wise. So what do we do with our stuff? We're going to talk about that. But first, our sponsors.
Woo.
The Frugal Friends Workbook. You've heard us talking about this. We're so excited. So we're going to keep talking about it. The Frugal Friends Workbook is officially available, you all. It has been for like a week now. The Frugal Friends Workbook is a digital download with 6 week-long challenges that will help you improve your spending, declutter your life, become a better negotiator, have more money conversations with the people in your life, and so much more. The workbook can be completed on your own, but it is created to be gone through in pairs or small groups, because we're the Frugal Friends and we think everything is done better in pairs and groups. However, if you don't have a partner or a small group, not to worry. If you purchase the workbook during launch week, you'll get access to a 6-week Facebook group where you can find others who have purchased the workbook and form your own groups. Jen and I will also be available to answer the questions and any questions that you have, guide you through it. And if you're listening in real time, August 14th is the last day to get that bonus. So that is today.
Yes.
But there's still time. So let's do this. Let's get it done. The workbook is also usually $34, but it's the last day. And so we are still offering it at $24. So head to frugalfriendspodcast.com/workbook and join the fun.
Join us. It's been a good week. We're recording this before we launch, so we assume it's been a good week in the group, and we look forward to seeing you there. So today's episode is also brought to you by a book of CDs. Looking through your nostalgia in your closet and find a book of CDs, maybe Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, System of a Down. Go through that book of CDs and remember all of the memories. Were you in your car when you were listening to it? Were you with your friends? Were you with that first boyfriend or girlfriend? Oh, just go through and just remember all of the memories.
All the feels.
And then put that book of CDs in a bag or a box and get rid of it. Book of CDs. It's good for the memories, but like physically, memories are in your head, not in a book.
And you can go download
CDs.
NSYNC from the internet.
You can. Spotify. Alternatively, this episode would have been brought to you by Spotify, but that's,
They're not actually sponsoring us, unfortunately.
So we get the second tier that's book of CDs.
Amazing. Yeah, man, that took up a lot of space. It's amazing how the internet has helped us to declutter a lot of things.
There is no reason you shouldn't declutter.
Yeah, and less to maintain. We don't have to keep up our CD players and our boom boxes that are broken and have pieces missing.
Yeah. So that's what you, I hope, have been doing while you've been stuck at home. But like, no judgment if you've just been watching Netflix also. There's absolutely no judgment. But if you have been decluttering, then we want to go through, because we remember when the Marie Kondo docuseries came out, thrift stores were super overrun with stuff. And it didn't all make it into stores. Like it wasn't always used to the best of its ability. And so there are alternatives, and we're going to walk through those today. Mm-hmm. So this first article we have is from The Verge. Again, we take the first page Google, usually in the top 5 results. We look at what is in there, and then we dissect it, because we want to help you with your Googling. Mm-hmm. So this one's from The Verge, and it's how to responsibly get rid of the stuff you've decluttered.
Yes. So we're going to go through all of it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there were some really helpful things in here. So we're going to start out with tech. So if you've got tech to get rid of, this includes old phones, computers, laptops, TVs, all of that. It is important to not just throw them into the trash. They've got all sorts of components in them that it is better to figure out how we could reuse or recycle or give away to anyone who might have use for it, and not just throw it into the landfill. So some really helpful tips on here. You can check for possible manufacturing trade-in deals. So like Apple, Android has deals that you can look up by going onto their websites and looking at what kind of trade-in deals you might be able to get for that device. Also, you can sell old stuff. So eBay, Facebook Marketplace, these are some excellent places to go to even just get a little bit of money for something. You may think, oh, this is, a very old generation of this phone. Still, there might be people out there who are interested in that.
For their kids.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
For their children. Young teens who are getting their first phone, at least in my world, that's the case. I'm sure it's probably even younger than that, but young teens is my recommendation for when kids should have their first phones. But yes, it doesn't need to be the highest end thing. So there could be people who are interested. Yeah. Also, there's other people out there who just like to refurbish things and can sell them themselves. So yeah, selling things is an option. And this article lists a couple of places where you could consider selling your tech. We'll have them all linked in our show notes, but they list off a site called Declutter, which gives you quotes on your tech. And you could decide whether or not you want to sell through them. They also take books, CDs, DVDs, Legos. Holy smokes, everybody's got
books
Legos.
Of CDs.
Hanging books of CDs. There's another site called Swappa, which charges the buyer, not the seller, although I think the seller does have to pay like the PayPal transaction fee. But primarily it's the buyer who's paying the shipping and all that. And then Amazon also has a trade-in program. So check out Amazon, although they pay out in the form of a gift card, but who couldn't use an Amazon gift card? But that's an option too.
Yeah.
Beyond that, you can also look into just charity, giving away, donating. If you're not concerned about making money off of it, there's all sorts of places that will take your used tech items. So a couple that this article lists off is an organization called Computers with a Cause. There's also an organization called World Computer Exchange, Globe Tops. All of these will take tech items. They might refurbish them and then give them to schools or people in need or other nonprofit organizations that might want to use older laptops and have a use for them. Mm-hmm. Finally, if you've got some tech items that are so old that nobody wants it.
Why?
Yeah,
Why do you have them still?
Well, because you just might yourself be older and wiser and have had tech items in your home for a long time.
You
Some
might be old,
options
Jen.
might be to recycle those things. So check with your town or your city for a recycling center as it relates to tech items. If all else fails, if you can't figure that out, check out, there's a website called Earth 911, and they list out nearest recycling centers for different types of items that might be harder to get rid of. And then this one made me laugh. I had no idea, and this is mostly, I think, just for chuckles. It is possible that you have such an ancient device that you could give it to a museum, they say. That if you've got an old BlackBerry cell phone, you name it, it's possible that there's a museum that'll take it. So if you have any luck with that, let us know. They mentioned like MIT had like a museum for tech items. I mean, that's pretty low on the totem pole of possibilities, but you never know if you've got something. Oh gosh, so ancient.
Check your grandma or granddad's house, see what they have.
Anyhow,
yeah.
So that's tech.
Travis actually, our friends gave him a broken Apple Watch. It was just shattered. Like it very much looked like beyond repair. And he went to sell it and he actually didn't think he could sell it. So he bundled it with a phone he was trying to sell. And somebody just wanted the broken Apple Watch. Wow. And they paid him $50 for it.
Amazing.
So don't underestimate how and what people will buy. Some people can fix these things up. Yes. And some people will use them for their kids or charity. Just don't, like, we tend to think nobody wants my old tech, but you don't know that.
Just because you can't fix it doesn't mean that nobody else can or doesn't have a value for it. So see what you can do with that.
For sure. The next one's a big one, clothing. Mm-hmm. So always we're just giving the thrift store our clothes. But this article kind of makes an argument for buying better quality and more expensive clothing, which is something we've talked about in our Buying Happiness episode and our Capsule Wardrobe episode, that there is merit to actually spending more on your clothing. And that even comes down to when you're ready to get rid of it, because the better quality of your clothing, the more likely you're actually able to resell it. So at the very, very high end, you can use websites like The RealReal or Rebag. Those are like very designer. But alternatively, you could use Poshmark if you're not using those like really high-end brands. But you have to actually purchase premium brands that are, resellable. So that's kind of like an argument for buying better quality clothes and more sustainable products. So spending a little more upfront to purchase from a company that's a B Corp or just like more sustainable, that automatically brings up the value so that when you're ready to get rid of it, you also don't have this sunk cost mentality to where, I spent money on it, I have to keep it because I don't want to just give it to a thrift store. No, like at that point, you just spend a little more and your sunk cost becomes, I spent so much money on this, I can actually resell it for a little bit more. And essentially you are breaking even versus whether you bought a t-shirt from Target or a t-shirt from like Madewell or something like that. So consider those things when you're shopping. Know that you're not going to hold on to an item for the rest of your life. Like your best pieces, you'll hold on to for a max of 10 years, like that's a really long time for clothing. So be thinking about where your clothes are going to go once they leave you. So I'll thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
No, I like that. I think about that sometimes when I drop things off at the thrift store. I'm like, I want to give quality things. I don't want to drop off my junk. And I think that that's part of it. It starts before you're at the thrift store with just buying quality things, but not a lot of it. That's where minimalism comes in. Like it has to be paired. It can't just be spending tons of money constantly. It's spending money wisely, intentionally on things that matter, on simple, as minimal as possible. But then when it inevitably doesn't suit your needs anymore and you need to give it away, you're not dropping off junk someplace and having it be someone else's problem to deal with.
Yeah. And I'm talking about like when you do buy new, like most of my clothes are secondhand. And that's like how I spend money. And then when I purchase something that's nicer and made sustainably, like I don't feel bad about dropping $50 on a shirt, because I rarely do that. I don't feel bad about it though.
And I'm always so grateful to the people who have bought really nice clothing and then just gave them to the thrift store, because now I've got some really nice clothes from the thrift store because somebody else made some investment and then paid it forward.
Yes, but don't you do that. You sell your nice clothes because you're listening to this podcast.
Yes.
But if you're not going to sell it for work clothes, there are some charities that you can give your clothes to. So if you're in the New York City area, there's Bottomless Closet for women and Career Goal for men. And the best way to find an organization in your area that takes business clothes to pass on to people would be Charity Navigator or GuideStar. There are also sites like ThredUp. I don't think ThredUp is not my favorite for selling clothes. It's not something I would recommend. I love actually using ThredUp to buy clothes. I buy a lot of my workout clothes from ThredUp.
Nice.
Actually, they've got really, so I love it for buying. And actually, we have a referral link that we'll post in the show notes. frugalfriendspodcast.com/threadup without the A. And you can get like a $10 on your first purchase. So yeah, I love ThredUp for buying, not for getting rid of your clothes. So then other than that, another place to give like non-business clothes would maybe be Vietnam Veterans of America. That's probably mostly for like men's clothes. And then also the site called Give Back Box. It encourages you to use the box your new clothes were shipped in to send your old stuff, like at least 5 items, hopefully can fit in the box, it says, to a charity. So the site provides prepaid shipping, and ThredUp will send you a bag for unsellable clothing if you choose that. But yeah, so Give Back Box is like a cool way that if you do buy some new clothing that comes in a box, consider getting rid of some old clothing. And that's just a good practice. When you bring a few new items in, like getting rid of a few items, this makes that really simple.
Agreed. And next category is books. So we always have tons of books, all kinds, cookbooks, fiction books, nonfiction books, text books. That seems to be
Books almost sponsored this episode. It was between books and and whatever book of CDs.
Yeah, which kind of still was a book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's some options with books. You can consider selling books. Certainly, we would suggest not wasting your time on books that people don't want and you can't get much money. I mean, they list Amazon as an option, but it is really hard to sell on Amazon if you are not. I mean, you do have to register as a seller and it's hard to compete with like the bigger businesses that are selling books. It is an option if you want to look into it.
I did that actually.
Did you?
So I had textbooks from school. And these were like really niche books. These were acupuncture books.
Okay.
That I listed on you just get an Amazon Seller Central account, and then I posted them, and it was pretty simple.
That's
all of
awesome.
my books sold.
Wow.
So I would say
And that's
you have to
textbooks, though. That's not
right.
like...
I would say more specialized books.
Yeah. Yep. But also other places to sell would be Abe Books or Powell's. And again, we'll have all this linked in our show notes. But with both of those sites, you fill out like a short form with the book's ISBN number, the condition, and then they kind of give you a quote on what they might be able to sell it for. Then you send it to them. And then once it's sold, they give you the money. So you get a bit of a payout that way. For textbooks, other options include Chegg or BookBite that you could sell textbooks. This is definitely something that you want to do within very recently after using it. So if you're in school right now, we would recommend that you do this shortly after your semester ends so that people are buying, the latest editions. If your books are 15 editions late in the game, might just, try it. Definitely try it, but probably a little bit better for more recent editions. And of course, if you're not interested in making money off of it, there's always the option to give. Obviously, thrift stores will take them, but you could also consider places that specifically are designated for receiving books. So there's an organization called Better World Books, and they have a list of drop sites that you can take your books to.
Yeah, they're all over.
Yeah. I can picture the Dropbox, sign in my head too. Yeah, and that's specifically for books. And then you've got Books for Soldiers. So they actually will send books to soldiers overseas to be able to have some entertainment. Certainly libraries will even take some gently used books. And something else that's cool that I've seen, at least around my town, and I'm sure for you, Jen, as well, people have started these like little pop-up, take a book, leave a book, or just take a book, or just leave books, kind of like these little library boxes that you could take your books to. And that would almost be giving back to your local community, or you could start one yourself if you live in a neighborhood, setting something outside of your house even, where you can put all of your books, and anybody walking by could take a book if they want. Others could drop books off. So yeah, there's a lot of even creative ideas of what you could do with books if you don't want to just take them to the thrift store.
Yeah. My friend Christine, actually, she's partnered with our local newspaper. And so they are going more digital. And so these old newspaper stands, they're taking them out and they don't have anything to do with them. So she's actually partnered. They're donating the newspaper dispensers to her, and she is creating these little free libraries for people. And they can, people in our city are saying like, oh, can you paint mine blue or purple? And she's painting them and then dropping them off at houses. And so we're seeing all these new little free libraries in fun colors pop up. So if that's something you wanted to start, definitely reach out to your local library and see if they have any of those little newspaper dispenser things that they're looking to get rid of.
Nice. Awesome. That's all I got on books.
Yes. And so last is everything else. So for the next hour, we'll go through, I'm just kidding. So if you really want to sell your stuff, a great place to do it is eBay. For a minute, I didn't think anybody still used eBay. Yeah. Travis has told me that is completely false.
It's very false.
Tons of people use eBay.
You just have to deal with shipping.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like you know, if you don't have Amazon Prime, you have to deal with shipping everywhere else too. Yeah. So it's not a big deal. Like, well, okay, for the seller. Sorry, I'm thinking from a buyer. Yeah. As a seller, yeah, all you have to do is to worry about shipping. But a lot of things fit in those pre-priced boxes at the post office. You can put bricks in there as long as they fit.
As long as it fits.
Yeah. So so people who sell on eBay range from like one-time only folks to like professional retailers, and you get up to 50 free listings a month. And then after that, it's just 35 cents a listing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I would say save this for things that you actually think are worth something. And then also be prepared to sit on it for a while. Like have a place, store it like in your garage or something, and just wait. Yeah. Because your listings can run out and then you can like relist. So if you think it's worth money, then just you have to be patient. But the way you can check to see if what you have is worth money is that you can go on eBay and you can filter out recently sold, and then for whatever, search for what you're selling and then filter out recently sold. And it will only show you the things that have been recently sold, and you can see what the final price was. And I believe also what they paid for shipping. And then just price around there and you're golden. Yeah. So that's a secret to selling on eBay. And then also you can just give things away for free. So something we didn't mention we did a recent episode about like buy nothing groups and stuff, but we didn't mention Free Cycle, which was a glaring omission. No, I think that was me. It was my YouTube video. I did a YouTube video on modern frugality about like how I get so much stuff for free, and like Free Cycle was the one thing I left out. But it's a service that introduces local people who have stuff to other local people who want that stuff. So that's really cool. It's kind of like the neighborhood app does the same thing. Like you can say people in your neighborhood, like I've got this, who wants it? And people can take it and stuff like that.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So that is this article.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing. And of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. Oracle.com/strategic.
We know New Year's resolutions often don't stick. In fact, on average, they last around 30 days. So if saving money is on your 2024 resolution list, here's a foolproof way to stick to yours.
Switch your phone provider to Mint Mobile. For a limited time, wireless plans from Mint Mobile are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. That's unlimited talk, text, and data for $15 a month.
For those of you paying close to $40 a month for just one phone line, this means a savings of $300 over the course of the year. We especially like Mint because all plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/frugal. That's mintmobile.com/frugal. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/frugal. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Our next article, and through all the options. So this one went through like things specific, and now we're going to go through like a place specific. So this is from NBCnews.com, and it's post Marie Kondo purge. Here's what to do with that unwanted stuff.
Or post-COVID purge.
You're right. Yeah. Situation. You can see why it was the first one to pop up with what I put in. You can only only guess what I searched.
Yeah. So they have 6 tips listed in here. I think all of them are worth it, but we'll do a quick run through of them. The first one is to offer your stuff that you don't want anymore to people in your community. So similar to what we just talked about in the last article, this could be for free or for sale, but we're talking about thinking local. Who around you might want your things? And really, going back to what you just said, Jen, free cycle or buy nothing groups on Facebook, or neighbors or friends, just considering people in your area that might want them. In the midst of COVID, I think it's worth considering porch pickups, porch drop-offs, transaction of payment that can happen digitally, whether that's through PayPal or Venmo or Cash App. I know that we've been selling a lot of stuff through our move, and it's been super simple to just put in the listing, porch pickup only, pay us through Venmo, and you really don't have to interact with people. That sounds awful. That sounds awful. But yes, depending on people's comfort level with that, and just to kind of be mindful of the various regulations, that it can still be done in a manner that is respectful of local regulations.
For something like this, instead of using Facebook Marketplace, I like to use local Facebook groups. So like if it's kids stuff, I have a local foster parents group that I'm part of, and I will offer it up in there first. Or just a local moms group in general. So if there's like something that you're passionate about, there is probably a local group about it on Facebook. And so just look for those. And I highly recommend local foster parent groups for giving all kinds of stuff. Gosh, even meals and just offering your services. Just do that.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our second point, is to give them to friends or swap so you benefit from the deal too. Travis went on the Neighborhood app, and it's a great app. If you don't have it, it just connects you to your neighbors in your immediate vicinity. And so we have a huge mango tree in our front yard, and Travis loves avocados. He also loves mangoes, but like we have way more mangoes than we can eat. And he said, I've got these delicious mangoes and I will trade someone for avocados. And now
that is the Florida life right there.
Now he has more avocados and mangoes than he can eat. So
and now he's selling them.
Oh my God, he is. He's selling mangoes. Because some people in the group were actually like, I don't have avocados, or any other fruit, but like, I'll buy your mangoes. And I'm in my head, I'm like, great. Why don't you just go to Aldi and buy some mangoes? And Travis,
it's not local. It's not fresh,
Travis reminded me some people prefer local organic produce to regular Aldi produce. And I was like, well, good for them. Okay. Yeah. But that is a thing that people do. And I think it's important to like note also, you don't have to do every single thing that we're talking about today. I know this is like starting to sound like a lot, but you can just pick just your best priced, best quality items. This is kind of just to break up your purge into like 50% can go to the thrift store, but here's what you do with the other 50%. It's not like you need to spend weeks trying to make sure every single thing you're getting rid of goes to the right place or gets sold. We're talking about balance here. So like set a limit and just say like, okay, 50% or whatever percent is going to the thrift store, but this half I'm going to actually try and rehome sustainably. Yeah.
If I can find a better, more intentional spot for these things where they will be useful to somebody else that is kind. It's a kind thing to do.
Yeah. So, and then posting on your Facebook profile is a great way to give your things to friends. So, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Giving to friends and swapping. I love it. I love those swap parties. Third on the list is to repurpose or DIY. So before you go to trash something or donate something, consider if it could be reused for something else, or if a friend or neighbor or local community member would be interested in using it for something else. The article gives an example of maybe a candle that is all used up, but the candle holder was really cool and could be used as a planter or a catch-all for pens or something like that. I know I've done, or a vase. I've done that. There are some really nice candle holders out there. I've definitely done that before. She even gave an example of repurposing an old office trash can into a planter. So yeah, just some creative ideas that before we kind of think, oh, I'm not using this anymore, to think, well, what else do I have on my list of things that I've been on the lookout for? And do I have anything that might fit that need? Or do I want to see if somebody else could use it first? It does require, to your point, Jen, a bit more work, but I think it can also be helpful to others to consider, hey, I've got a friend who actually really likes vintage tablecloths, or another friend who loves this color, and maybe I should just send them a quick text with a picture of that thing and see, maybe they'd want this before I get rid of it. And really, that cultivates community and friendship and kindness and intentionality, that like those tendrils of frugality and purging, those are seeds that are sown that we can't even put a price tag on. So just taking that extra minute to pause and think, is there a way that I could bless another person or be thoughtful or be mindful of others? I think that's just great. It's a great practice that coincides with frugality.
And we're frugal friends, and that's what frugal friends do. Yeah.
Friends.
I love it.
Yes.
This next one is actually one that doesn't get talked a lot about when talking about decluttering, but it's actually very important. So this is pertaining to chemicals and toxic materials. If you have a chemical that you maybe thought you would use but didn't, or didn't use all of, and you're not going to need it again, there is a proper way to dispose of harmful chemicals. You shouldn't just throw them in your trash can. And so most cities will actually have a chemical disposal plant. I know we have one. So we have one. It's HE cubed, HECCC. I don't know what all the letters stand for. I know that Miami has one, and they have not a resell, but they have a lot of them will have a store connected to it where they will take the good ones and citizens can take them for free. Miami's is called Chem Again. I like that one. Ours is called Swap Shop.
That's awesome.
So donating your stuff there. And we've gotten a lot of paint, spray paint and regular paint, a lot of bathroom cleaners, kitchen cleaners, dishwasher liquid. So all of these things are things that you should not just be throwing away in your trash can. You should be taking them to a disposal. So you can search your local city's website for chemical disposal, something like that. It's probably at the local dump. And see if also they have like a swap shop or a Chem Again program. And you can also, while you're dropping some stuff off, it's also actually usually the same place where you drop off electronics too, like old electronics. They're the same place. And then you can stop at the swap shop and see if they have any, cleaners that you need. Win-win.
Yep. I love that. I love that you could reuse them or other people could make use of it. It's so great. Number 5 on this list is to sell or consign. We've talked a lot already about selling, so I won't rehash all of that, but I do want to highlight this consignment idea and of course, websites like ThreadUp and Poshmark are that idea. However, if you don't want to go digital, it's worth considering local consignment consignment shops. So if dealing with shipping as a seller is something that you just don't even want to get into, it could be worth going to your local consignment stores and seeing if they would consign something for you. Of course, you will not get the full profit of what they sell that thing for, but usually you can set the price and say, here's what I want to get, and they list it at a higher price. And there's, more exposure of that item, and so more likelihood of it getting sold. Mm-hmm. So this, of course, will be for your items that are possibly worth more. I mean, you could try to consign anything, but some examples would be considering consigning your wedding dress or prom dresses. Or I know Eric, my husband, just is currently consigning a drum kit. So there's even a local near us music consignment shop. So all different types of niches within the consignment world that you could consider some of your items that are worth a little bit more, but maybe you don't even want to deal with the internet.
Yeah. Search your city and consignment, and you'll get some results of different types of consignments in there. I know there's a lot for jewelry. I believe there's some for like tools and stuff. So just check to see what's available in your area. And that brings us to our last one, coming full circle from the first soapbox I got on, is to swap your items in exchange for discounted merchandise. And stores like H&M and Madewell will incentivize your donations by offering you something in exchange for them, mostly discounts to their stores. Mm-hmm. So if you buy nicer items, which I don't consider H&M nicer, but Madewell, you can bring your old jeans to Madewell and earn $20 towards a new pair. So stuff like that. Look for programs before you buy something to see if those exist in stores you like.
Mm-hmm. I often forget about this, and maybe I'll go to a store because I'm looking for something specific, and it's like, oh man, if I would have brought in a grocery bag of the clothing I'm already getting rid of, I could have gotten like 15 to 20% off my purchase. It's something really to consider before you get in the car to go shopping. Who's offering some of those exchanges?
Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't get you a discount, but you should be thinking about every week. Should be. I'm
best
so sorry. That
ever.
Was horrible.
For your listenership, you now get this exchange.
The bill of the week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the bill of the week.
Hi, this is Stephanie. I live in the Tampa Bay area in Florida, and I love y'all's podcast. I listen to it all the time, and I'm really excited to share my bill of the week. I've been out of work for a while now. I had a baby a few months ago, and I was ready to get back into the workforce, but obviously now is not the best time to look for a job. And I was just doing some side hustles, and it came upon me to start a business. And I speak a few different languages, so I'm offering translation services and tutoring for people who want to learn languages. And this week, I was able to send my first bill to my first client, and I got paid. So it's been an amazing feeling, and although it's a really weird time in the world and difficult in many ways for many people, it's been exciting to be able to send my first bill and see that income come in. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to share my excitement with you guys, and I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
That's amazing. I don't think we've gotten many bills that were I got to bill somebody
Yes.
else. It's usually a bill that we've paid, which is great too. But holy smokes, what an amazing bill that you were billing somebody else. They paid you and now you've got money, especially in crazy times. It is such a courageous move to start a new company, new business. And after just giving birth, holy smokes, you are rocking it. And we're really, really, really proud of you for this and celebrating with you for that first bill that actually got paid to you.
I know. Congratulations. And I hope many more bills to come to your clients.
Yes.
If you are sending bills to clients, please let us know about it. Please visit frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill and leave us your bill, and we want to celebrate with you. And yeah, that's all we do.
Hi, I'm Martine Hackett, and I'm hosting the second season of Untold Stories, Life with a Severe Autoimmune Condition, a production from Ruby Studio in partnership with Argenix, sharing real stories of MG, CIDP, and other autoimmune conditions. We hope to share inspiration and educate the larger community about these severe and often overlooked conditions.
I can't fix this, I can't cure this. And, I'll take my treatment day by day, but I want to try to be engaged, be involved, or be as helpful as I feel I can with the limitations I have of working full time to children. So I participate in market research to provide information to hopefully benefit others, because it's a small margin of people that have the myasthenia, but then to get pregnant, it's an even more narrow margin. And you can't ever have too much information as an epidemiologist.
Yeah, exactly right. Listen to Untold Stories, Life with a Severe Autoimmune Condition on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Shopping for humans is hard. Shopping for your dog is easy thanks to Bark. Every month, we deliver toys and treats just for your dog. They deserve to be spoiled anyway. At Bark, we send your dog a whole new collection of toys and treats made just for them every single month. Whether it's our fun plush toys from BarkBox or our ultra tough toys from Super Chewer, we give your dog exactly what they want. For a limited time, we'll double your first box for free. To get your free upgrade, go to barkbox.com/iHeart.
Now it's time for
the lightning round. That is also what I do now for the lightning round. Today, we are going to talk about how often we purge and what we do with it, so you can kind of get some real life examples of how we process this. Because I'm definitely not optimizing 100% of my purges, so I gladly use my thrift store. But there are some things I do. So
yeah, we purge pretty much every time we help other people move or when we ourselves move, which ends up being quite often. But I got to tell you, we help a lot of people move, which feels like so constant. And this is nothing against people we've helped move. It's just a reality that we collect things just as humans. It's amazing how we kind of just grow to fill the space that we're in. And we kind of get this front row seat when we move people of, oh my gosh, this is just a lot of stuff and it's overwhelming and it stresses me out. And the only thing I can control is myself. I can't control other people. Mm-hmm. So what I do with that energy, that frustration of how much we as humans collect, is I go home and say, well, I'm going to take control of my life at least and get rid of stuff. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to end up with a closet full of stuff that I got to move. And I move enough that that's a reality. So also, every time I move, I make it a point to not just throw stuff in boxes, but if I'm going to put it away, if I'm going to pack it, I've got to know I'm going to be using this on the other end of the move, just to decrease stress. Mm-hmm. And what I do with those items, so as you said, it's percentages of things. As I'm getting rid of stuff, I will kind of curate, what do I think people would pay for? What do I think? And I'm not always accurate on my assessment, but I will pull out what I think is, maybe worth a little bit of money. to somebody else is worth my time in selling it, and I'll post that on Facebook Marketplace. That's kind of my favorite spot to sell stuff. I will primarily do porch pickup. Most of my stuff that I think is worth selling is only within like the $7 to $15 range, so I'm fine doing a porch pickup on that. Otherwise, I will also give to friends, as I mentioned before. Like I'll take pictures of things and send people texts, see if they're interested in it, or I'll kind of have a box in the back of my car, and as I see people like, hey, you want to take a look at what's in my car in the back of my van?
Look at my things.
Seriously, yeah. And sometimes people are interested in stuff, and I love that. Like I love that I can just give people stuff that has value or a purpose for them, and all of the rest of it I will donate.
Nice.
Yep. What about you?
For me, I'm actually continuously decluttering. So I have a bag in my closet. I have a place in the closet in my office and a place in the living room. And so every time there's something that I want to get rid of, it goes in one of those bags. And then when the bag gets full, then I try and do maybe a little more intentional go through of things, and then I will get rid of. The things that are sellable don't go in the bags. Those actually Travis just is always selling things on Marketplace, so those things are continuously, he's just selling there or eBay. Mm-hmm. So we had a big declutter when the Marie Kondo docuseries came out, and that was kind of like our last big declutter. Twice a year, there's a kids consignment sale. It's called Rialanas, and that's for like nicer quality kids items. So that's another thing. Things when Kai grows out of things, the good things are constantly going in the consignment bag, and then the not good quality things go in the donate bag. So twice a year, I'm putting stuff in that sale and I kind of, nice. I break even. It's only worth it if you have nice stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go there and I'll buy things that are kind of harder to find at a thrift store. So yeah, that's kind of how we do it. I am continually on the lookout for how I can have less stuff. Because I just look around, and if there's too much stuff somewhere, I'm just kind of like picking things off and putting them in the bag. And if I put a piece of clothing on and I don't like it, it goes in the bag. So yeah, that's how we do it. And so I haven't had like a lot of books, but I would take books to the Better World Books donation centers. And then most of our stuff, we try and sell it, or we donate it. So yeah, that's kind of like but I am interested to try some of the things that we talked about today, because I actually learned some things. Yeah. You do get the most money selling something, more money than you do like just from a place that buys tech or clothes. Mm-hmm. There are a few places here that buy clothes, like Revolve or Plato's Closet is a big one that's around the country. So I have sold clothes there.
I've had better luck with men's clothing at Plato's Closet than with my own. So I found I don't even bother with mine anymore, but I will take Eric's clothing to Plato's Closet, and usually they take almost everything.
They're always more in search of men's clothing for sure. Yeah. So if you have a boyfriend or a husband, definitely try and sell their clothing.
Yeah. Or son or father.
Or I guess, yeah. Or don't go to your dad's house and sell your dad's clothing.
It's time. It's time for you to get rid of this. And I'm going to profit off of it.
Okay, it's time for us to end this episode.
Okay. Thanks for listening. We want to thank you for your kind reviews so much. We want to give you an example. This one is from Emily Phil, and it says the motivational friends you need, happens to be 5 stars. Says, as a woman entering her late 20s, this podcast is everything I didn't know I needed. Throughout my adult life, I've been not totally irresponsible with money, but tended to avoid confronting my financial issues head on. Jen and Jill are super easy to listen to and make me feel like I'm part of the conversation with friends, rather than like I'm a child being scolded and shamed like many other personal finance podcasts and videos. With their tidbits of advice, I'm actually, shocker, enjoying managing my finances and finding ways to be frugal. Thank you, Jen and Jill, for helping me find some control in my life when everything else has gone haywire in the age of COVID-19. We feel you.
Yes.
I'm so glad to be making this accessible. That is our goal. That so many listeners can find themselves in this podcast. That if you are listening, that there's something for you.
Yeah. And we also want to thank our friends who share these episodes on social media. So when you share the latest episode and tag us at Frugal Friends Podcast on Facebook or Instagram, or you email us a screenshot of your iTunes or Stitcher review, we're giving away a Frugal Friends workbook for every 5 tags and reviews we receive.
So keep on leaving us reviews on iTunes or Stitcher, sending the screenshot to frugalfriendspodcast@gmail.com, and tag us on social media. Both will enter you into that drawing.
And remember, today is the last day you can get the Frugal Friends workbook for $24. Get access to that Facebook group and join with us for the next 5-6 weeks and all the fun we're going to be having. It's going to be great. frugalfriendspodcast.com/workbook.
Bye.
Frugal Friends is produced, edited, and mixed by Eric Sirianni.
Well, what else you got?
I don't know. I've been eating a lot of bananas and peanut butter. That's what I had for dinner last night.
Good for you. It is filling.
Yeah.
I had a banana and almond butter the other day.
Ooh, you fancy.
Well, it was at my sister's house. She's the fancy one.
Nice. This was actually peanut butter Travis found on the side of the road.
That peanut butter jar that you've been talking about for like a year now?
A year?
I don't know. It feels that way. We talked about it in our husband's episode, which was like 5 months ago. And I feel like when you told that story, it was a story that had happened at least 3 months prior to that.
Still not a year ago.
Oh my God.
That's still 2020.
But I'm not far off.
No. Okay, so there were 2. And I think this is the second one.
Okay, so they were unopened.
Unopened.
Uh-huh.
Side of the road peanut butter.
Yes.
And I've been eating a lot of it, and I haven't gotten sick, so.
All right. Is it natural? It looks like
No.
It looks natural.
Absolutely not. No, this is a generic brand of peanut butter. It is vegan. Lactose and gluten-free.
I'm so proud of you. Just living out the frugal life that you talk about.
Thank you.
Oh,
cut.
Bye.
With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with Cheap Caribbean Vacations means you have more freedom to do your deal. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas, and more, or simply soak up the sun and sand in a tropical paradise, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book the exact getaway you want at exactly the right price for you by using our exclusive Budget Beach Finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package to Paradisus by Malia Hotels, and do your deal at cheapcaribbean.com.
Bring home Napoleon.
Destiny has brought me here.
The action epic from acclaimed director Ridley Scott.
What is your name? Napoleon. You are the greatest leader in the history of the world.
Witness the rise.
You are nothing without me.
Of the legend. Starring Academy Award winner Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby.
I'm the first to admit when I make a mistake. I simply never do.
Napoleon. Buy or rent on digital now. Rated R.